ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतुषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थसुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदयादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहैतुकी। So welcome you all to today's talk on Jiva Tattva. As most of you or all of you may know that Bhagavān, God the Supreme Person, has three types of potencies which are called Hladini, Sandhani, Samvit. It is stated in Vishnu Purana, Hladini, Sandhani, Samvit, Tvayi Eka Sarva Sanstitau. Hlad Tapakari Mishra Tvayi No Guna Varjite. So this says that you who are the support of everything and you are in everything, you have three potencies, Hladini Shakti, Sandhani Shakti and Samvit Shakti. But Hlad Tapakari Mishra, which refers to Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, they are not in your svarūpa. So first three are part of Bhagavan's svarūpa, therefore they are part of Svarūpa Shakti. But Sattva, Rajas and Tamas are not part of his Svarūpa Shakti. So they are part of his Bahiranga Shakti. So this is Svarūpa Shakti. Then he has his Bahiranga Shakti and taṭasthā-śakti, which is also described. Vishnu Shakti Parāprokta Kshetragyākhya Tatha Para Avidya Karma Sangyanya Shakti Tritiya Ishyate. That he has got his Svarūpa Shakti, which is called Parashakti, sometimes Svarūpa Shakti, sometimes Antaranga Shakti. So that is Parashakti. And then there is another Shakti which is called Apara, that is the taṭasthā-śakti. So Kshetragya also, Kshetragyākhya Tatha Para. And then there is the third which is Bahiranga, which is also called Avidya Karma or Māyā. So these are his three Shaktis incomplete. He has various types of Shaktis, but three are there. So Jiva is called also Apara Shakti, Kshetragya, taṭasthā-śakti. In Bhagavad Gita also Kṛṣṇa says that Bhumirapo anulo vayu khammano buddhirevacha ahankaram iti yamme bhinna prakriti rashtadha aparayam tu istamanya vidhi prakriti sanatana jiva bhuto mahabhavo edam dharyate jagat. So he says this is Apara Shakti, Aparayam. So this Jiva Shakti is part of his taṭasthā-śakti, which is sometimes called Kshetragya Shakti, because Jiva is also called Kshetragya, Bhagavān is also called Kshetragya. Idam shariram kaunteya kshetram itya vidhiyate etadyo veti tam prahu kshetragya iti tadvida kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetresu bharata. So Jiva Shakti is part of taṭasthā-śakti, and the word Jiva comes from the Sanskrit root Jiva prana dharane, means which has life, air in it, prana, or which lives. This is called with different names. It's also called Atma. It's called Purusha in Sankhya, Prakriti and Purusha. In Bhagavad Gita, Kṛṣṇa says Dehi, Dehi Nityam Avadhyoyam, Sarvadeheshu Bharata. It's also called Prani, because it has prana. Sometimes it is called Sakshi. Sakshi Cheta Kevalo Nirgunascha in the Upanishad. It is also called Tvam Padartha. Tattvamasi, Tat Tvam Asi. So Tat refers to the absolute and Tvam refers to the individual. And Jiva is most common word used. And there are two types of the jīvas. There are the Nitya Baddha jīvas, which are the jīvas in the material world. And then there are Nitya Mukta jīvas who have never been to the material world. They are ever liberated. Like Garuda, the Jiva, but it's not conditioned. So this Jiva Shakti is here in the material world, and it is conditioned by Māyā or Bahiranga Shakti or external potency of Bhagavān. So although these words Kshetragya, Atma, Purusha, Jiva, Sakshi, they can be used interchangeably, but still sometimes technically a difference is made between Atma and Jiva. So Jiva is the word which is used for the conditioned Atma. Atma is the word which is used for the pure self without any conditioning. Just to make the distinction, these two words are sometimes used. So in Narada Pancharatra it says yat taṭastham tu chidrupam svasamvedat nirgatam ranjitam gunaragena jiva iti sajiva iti kathyate. That taṭasthā-śakti, which is chidrupa, which is conscious by nature, but which is in the state of forgetfulness of its own svarūpa, swasamvedat nirgatam, and ranjitam gunaragina, and is under the influence of the gunas of prakriti, sattva, rajas and tamas. That is called jīva. So therefore jīva is also used in that sense. And even in Bhagavatam, jīva is defined. And there it is said that evam panchavidham lingam trivritam sodasha vistritam esha chetanaya yukto jīva iti abhidhiyate. So this is called jīva, which has chetana, consciousness, along with the panchavidha, means this body made of 5 tattvas, and then shodas further expand into shodas, which is the sukshma sarira, and trivritam sattva, rajas and tamas. So the meaning of this sloka is that conscious atma along with gross body and subtle body is what we call a jiva here. So that is the definition of jiva. And different schools of thought, they have different concepts about jiva. As Vaishnavas, we consider jiva as anu, atomic in size. Esho atma, esho atma chetsa veditavya. Esho atma chetsa veditavya yasmin prana panchadha samvivesa. So this is described in Mundak Upanishad, that this Atma is to be known with Chetas, with the mind, and it is Anu. So Anu, which is generally translated as atomic, means it is indivisible. Anu is that entity which cannot be further divided into parts or pieces. So therefore Atma does not have any parts. That's why it is called Anu. It is the smallest particle possible. Although it is not material, but even then it is called Anu, comparing it with material particles which reach a limit of divisibility. And it hangs into the 5 types of prana. Yasmin prana panchadha samvivesa. And it is through that prana that it makes the body conscious. That's why it is called jiva, which means jiva prana dharane. So it upholds the pranas. So when we say someone dies, which in Sanskrit is called mrityu, so mrityu comes from mridhatu, which means that there is a separation of prana viyoga. So death basically means that the prana leaves. This body functions on prana. Although we say that it is functioning because of the Atma, but Atma is not coming in direct contact with the body or anything else. Asangohi ayam purusha. And that's why it is not influenced by anything material, because it does not contact anything material. But then how does it make the body conscious, which is inert, jad matter? So this is through the help of prana. So that's why prana is life. It's also translated as life air. Prana by itself is not life air. Prana is air. It is also jada tattva, inert element. But because it spreads the consciousness through the medium of prana, the consciousness is spread. Therefore it is called life air or vital air. So all our functions in our body, they happen with the help of prana, which are 5 types, but then there are 5 more types, so then 10 types, but then there are further types, 14 types, there are many more. So all our activities, like we blink our eyes, or we talk, we move our hands and legs, digest food, evacuate thoughts, all these things happen with the help of prana. And we eat, we breathe, we are taking prana. We eat food to drive prana from that. You get prana from sun. Now there are some people who are called sun yogi. They live without eating because they get prana. So prana is most important for our life. That's why you have to eat fresh food because it has got more prana. Food which is stored in the fridge has hardly any prana. So you have to eat more to get prana from it. So anyway, that is the meaning of the word jiva, pranadharana. Now the situation of the jiva here in the material world is that it is conditioned. And when did this condition begin? So that is the interesting part and problematic part and difficult to comprehend. That this conditioning of the jiva in the material world does not have a beginning. So it is called anadi. So anadi is hard for us to grasp and accept because all our experiences are not anadi. Because if you experience anything, it cannot be anadi. We are having different experiences through our senses, and whatever experiences we have, we only have through our external senses. And that cannot be anadi because the senses themselves are not anadi. We are changing bodies. Taṭha dehantara prapti dhiras tatrama muhyate. So we have deha body, then another body. So experiences go on changing. So these experiences have beginning and end, beginning and end. And since all our experiences are having beginning and end, we cannot think that something is beginningless or something is endless. So therefore this question keeps on coming. So many times when I say to people that our conditioning has no beginning, then people ask the same question. But how did it happen? Why did Kṛṣṇa put us here? So it will come back in another form, which basically means when did it begin? When I am saying that it does not have a beginning. So there are few statements in Bhagavatam itself about this anadi thing. Very clearly this stated, Bhukshetra Jiva Sangya Yadanadi Nij Bandhanam. That this Jiva Sangya, that living entity, Sangya means name, which is called Jiva, it has anadi bandhana. Bandhana, means bondage, similar to the word bondage, bandhana. So it is anadi. And again it is said, anadya vidya upahata atma samvidaha tanmula samsara ashrita maturaha. That this jiva is conditioned by avidya, and the conditioning has no beginning because avidya does not have a beginning. Kṛṣṇa says twice in his teachings to Uddhava that how the conditioning is anadi. Ekasyeva mamamsasya jivasyeva mahamate bandho asya avidyaya anadi. Vidya cha tathetara. That my amsa, and he uses the word amsa here, which signifies that it is not all pervading, that it is having its bondage because of avidya, ignorance, and this bondage is anadi. Very clear statement. Another one, he makes similar statement, anadi avidya yuktasya purushasya atma vedanam satona sambhavad anyas tattvagyo jnanado bhavit. So he says that the purusha, which I said earlier is also word used for jiva, is anadi avidya yukta. It is endowed with beginningless ignorance. In Bhagavad Gita also Sri Kṛṣṇa says, although it is not directly but it understood, he says Prakriti Purusha ucha viddho anadho ubhavo api. That Prakriti and Purusha, they both are anadi, which also indicates that their union is also anadi. So we have to therefore understand this clearly, that the conditioning of the jiva does not have a beginning. So to say that it is conditioned with time immemorial is not a precise statement. Because when you say time immemorial, then it signifies that it began but we don't remember it. Immemorial means it is beyond our memory. That is not same as anadi or beginningless. And this can make so much of difference in philosophy. Just one word can change a lot of things. That's why precision is required when you translate Sanskrit words into English. And for that translation you have to actually understand the meaning in Sanskrit first. What does anadi mean? So the example of anadi is sometimes can be given from Nyaya point of view, that like you have praga bhav. It's a common example given, that when you produce something new, before you produce that object, there is a non-existence of that object. And that non-existence does not have a beginning. You cannot say, when did this non-existence begin? Because if the non-existence began, that means the product was there before that. So it is called praga bhav or pre-non-existence, or non-existence or absence of something before it is produced. And it has no beginning. But it can come to an end. When the product is produced, then that non-existence comes to an end. So similarly, our bondage has no beginning, but it comes to an end when we become liberated. So such things are called anadi santa, things which have no beginning but have an end. And this is precisely what Sri Jiva Goswami says in his Sandarbha, Bhakti Sandarbha, Paramatma Sandarbha, that the bondage of Jiva is, he uses the word samsarga bhava, which is pre-non-existence. Samsarga bhava is another word used for praga bhava. Praga bhava is one type of samsarga bhava. There are three types of samsarga bhava. So because it is an absence of knowledge, like this definition of Jiva, yattu taṭastham chidrupam swasamvedat vinirgitam, that it is lacking its own awareness. So this is very interesting, that Jiva is conscious, but it is not conscious of its own svarūpa. And because it is not conscious of its own svarūpa, it is all the time being conscious of things other than the svarūpa. So this is a problem, or this is the problem. So, and it is difficult to understand that how is it possible that the conscious entity does not know it. So this is answered by Maitreya Rishi in reply to Vidura when he asked this question to him. So he said, Sayam Bhagavato māyā yannayena viruddhyate. That this is because of Bhagavān's māyā, which can act contrary to logic. It seems illogical that a conscious being does not, because the very meaning of something is conscious means it is aware, but it is not aware of itself. Even though we are using the word I all the time, but that I we are using for something really which we are not, this mind-body complex. So, Sayam Bhagavato māyā yannayena viruddhyate, and this Ishwarasya Vimuktasya Karpanyamut Bandhanam. That actually Jiva is Vimukta. Because now when we say that we are Baddha Jiva, we are conditioned Jiva, the Jiva or the Atma does not have the bondage in its own svarūpa, in its own essential nature. The bondage is only outside. It is not inside it. And still we are bound. So as Kṛṣṇa says in Bhagavad Gita, Jnānena avritam jnānam tena muhyanti jantava. That the living beings, jantu is another word used for living beings. Jantava is plural of that. So sometimes the word Pashu is called, that's why you have Pashupatinath in Nepal, used for Shiva. So the word Pashu, both Jantu and Pashu are used for living entity, they are also used for animals. Because we are also like animal now. People say human beings are social animal. Just one type of animal, right? Social animal. So they are Pashu. So sometimes called Dvipad Pashu, two-legged animal, right? Different living beings have different legs. Sometimes 2 legs, sometimes 3 legs, sometimes 4 legs, sometimes 10 legs. So God has more hands, living beings have more legs. So this is the situation of the Jiva, its bondage. And the bondage is called by māyā. So Devihi esa gunamayi mama māyā duratteya. And because this is Bhagavān's māyā, one cannot become free from it with one's own effort. That's why Kṛṣṇa says, Svato na sambhavat. Svato means by oneself. Na sambhavat, it's not possible. It's not possible that a living being can transcend māyā or the 3 gunas by one's own effort. Because the effort which he or she is going to make will also be made with the products which are made of māyā. So it's like you are using instruments made by māyā to defeat māyā. So how she will allow you to do that? She is the one who is controlling you. She is the one who is conditioning you with these very instruments. The very instrument which are conditioning you, how can you transcend without some superior help? That very māyā. So, Indriyani mano buddhir asya adhisthānam uchyate. Kṛṣṇa says that māyā is sitting in your senses, in your mind, in your buddhi. And then bewildering. Etair vimuhotiyesha. By this it is bewildered. So tena muhyanti jantava. And how can a person who is bewildered can fight? Bewilderment means bhranta, improper understanding, improper knowledge. If you want to fight with the enemy, you have to understand the enemy properly. So that is not possible by one's own self. Therefore Kṛṣṇa says that Anyo tattvagyo jnanado bhavet. Therefore another person who is tattvagya, who knows the tattva, who knows the reality, he is jnanada. He can give you jnana or knowledge. As he says also, tadvidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevya updekshanti te jnanam. They can give you jnana. Why? Jnanina tattvadarshina. Tattvadarshi, same as tattvagya. So anyas tattvagyo jnanado bhavet. Vidura also says the same thing. So, sato jnanam kuto vidya. Bhakti says how is possible that one can get jnana. Even material knowledge we don't get by ourselves. So this is the situation of the jiva. Now, what are the characteristics of jiva? So when you want to understand anything, we have to understand its lakshana, its definition, and then pramana, the means of knowledge. Lakshana pramana bhyam vastu siddhi natu pratigya matrena. That something is established, proven by definition and then by pramana, by giving the means to understand it. And definitions are of two types. One is called taṭasthā-śakti, other is called svarūpa lakshana. So, lakshana or definition is that which segregates a certain thing from everything else. The lakshana or definition has got two purposes. Vyavritti vyavharo va lakshanasya prayojanam. That number one, you distinguish that particular object from other objects which are not that object. Then only you will recognize it. If you don't know the lakshana, then how would you recognize? You can mistake one thing for another. Another is vyavahara, that when we know the lakshana and we have recognized it, then we can talk about it, we can inform about it to others, we can deal with it. So if the table is there and I understand what is a table, then I understand that table is separate from the chair. I will not mistake. Somebody tells me that get the book from the table, then I am not going to get the book which is on the chair, because I understand. So therefore lakshana is of two types. One is svarūpa, means its very essential nature, what it is composed of, what it consists of. Another is called taṭasthā, or exterior definition, means how it acts outside it. So the taṭasthā lakshana is through the body. Body, mind, senses, these are not part of Atma. But through them we can understand that there is existence of Jiva in the body. When body is functioning, somebody is walking, talking, functioning, breathing, then what do we say? That he is alive. Which means that there is presence of Jiva in the body. So how do we know this? This is by seeing the taṭastha lakshana, by seeing the external activities, functions. Kshetragya eta manaso vibhutir jīvasya māyā rachitasya nitya avarhitāta rohitasya kvapi suddhe vichaste avishuddha karta. So Atma is pure, but in its conditioned state it appears to be impure because it is identifying with the vrittis, manasa vritti. Vritti means the states of the mind. Because what is happening in our conditioned state, how we are dealing with the world, we are actually dealing only with the manasik vrittis, which in Nyaya, yoga, they are defined 5 types of vrittis. So yoga is dealing all about vrittis. Chitta vritti nirodha yoga. Yoga is nirodha of the vritti. So vritti means the state of the mind. Whatever we experience outside, it creates a vritti in our mind. And then with vritti only we are doing whatever we are doing. If I am seeing you, because there is a vritti in my mind, that may say I see you. If I am talking to you, that is a vritti. When I hear from you, that is a vritti. When I eat something, that is a vritti. So these are all vritti. So this is what Jad Bharata is telling. Kshetragya eta manaso vibhuti. That these are all manaso vibhuti. Jīvasya māyā rachitasya nitya. And these are made of māyā. All these vritti is nothing but māyā. So māyā rachitasya, and they are continuously avirhitāte rohitasya. Sometimes they are coming, sometimes they are going. Vrittis are not permanent. If you taste something, the taste does not stay in you all the time. You taste, then it is over. You see something, you hear something, everything is temporary. So coming, going, coming, and finishing. So this is, and the Atma is sitting inside watching it. So this is called taṭasthā-lakṣana. Whatever we do with our body, mind, etc., this is all outside. Sri Kṛṣṇa also says this in Bhagavad Gita, Iccఛa-dve sukham dukkham saṅghātas-cetana-dhati iti kshetram vikarena savikarena udahrita iti kshetram samasena savikarena udahrita. So this is all kshetra. Kshetra means field. So this body is like a field and many things are grown in it. All these vrittis are like some crop. Some are giving good results, some are giving bad result. Coming and going, like you grow something, you plant, then you plow the field, then you plant another thing, then you plant another thing. Like that it is going on. So this is the kshetra, and the one who knows this is called kshetragya. Idam shariram kaunteya kshetra iti vidhiyate. So the kshetra is there. And then we have the svarūpa, the actual nature of the jīva. And that is important to understand, because then we can discriminate, we can distinguish between Atma and non-Atma, self and non-self, Jiva and non-Jiva. So there are various characteristics of it. In Bhagavad Gita, Sri Kṛṣṇa begins defining them. But mostly what he is saying there is negative. That it does not die, na jayate mriyate va kadachan. It does not take birth, it does not die, it does not become old, it does not transform. Achedyoyam, adahyoyam. You cannot burn it, you cannot cut it, you cannot wet it, you cannot wither it. All this not. That it is not this, it is not that. So basically is more of giving neti. It is not this, it is not this. But what is something positive about Atma? So that we have to understand. So positive thing, first of all, as we said, that it is Shakti, potency. Both words are used. Sometimes it is treated like a substance, sometimes it is called like Shakti. So just like in our philosophy, Radharani is a person, but she is also called Shakti, potency of Bhagavān, Hladani Shakti. So in the spiritual world things work like that. Spiritual things are like that. So it is, and it is Shakti and it is a part of Bhagavān. Mamaivansa Jiva Loka Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. So it is part, and it is part not of all the three Shaktis of Bhagavān. Bhagavān has got Antaranga, Bahiranga and Taṭasthā. So Jiva is certainly not part of Bahiranga Shakti, because Bahiranga is inert and Jiva is not inert. There is nothing inert about Jiva. It also does not have Antaranga Shakti in it, as some people believe that it has got Antaranga Shakti or it has got Prema in it. No, it is only part of taṭasthā-śakti. And this taṭasthā-śakti therefore does not have Antaranga or Bahiranga in it. It is just pure, it is a third type, otherwise there was no need to make three divisions. Could have just made two. Antaranga, Bahiranga, and third one is a mixture of the two. So why this third division is said? Because it cannot be put in the category of Bhagavān, because it does not have Antaranga. It cannot be put in the category of Bahiranga, because it is not inert, it is conscious. So therefore it is a third category. That it is neither inert nor conscious like Bhagavān, some different state. So that is the reason it is called taṭasthā. And this taṭasthā-śakti has characteristic that it is eternal, it cannot be destroyed, it does not undergo any transformation, it has got characteristics such as consciousness. It is not just mere consciousness, but it is conscious and it possesses consciousness. So that's what also makes it different from Advaitavad theory, where Brahman is considered as mere consciousness. So it is not just consciousness, but it is conscious and possessor of consciousness. And it has got the characteristic of agency, doership. And because it is conscious, so it is also have the characteristic of knowership. And it can experience, so what you call as experiencership. But these characteristics of Atma, I'm speaking of pure Atma now, they cannot function on their own unless they have instruments by which they can be expressed. And therefore, Atma needs a body, either a material body or a spiritual body, to express its qualities. So just like somebody may have ability to play some music, but to play that he would need the instrument to play. Or you have the ability to write, but you will need some instrument to write. So similarly, the Atma has got potential to act, potential to know, potential to experience. But that potential cannot become manifest unless there are instruments to express that. So that's why body is necessary. So therefore, there are two types of characteristics or yogita or qualification. One is called svarūpa yogita, means qualification in its potential state. Other is called phalopadayi yogyata, means when the potential becomes manifest. So it becomes manifest only when it has certain other conditions along with it. Otherwise it can remain as a potential. So Atma does not have any form, does not have any svarūpa. Therefore Kṛṣṇa says, avyaktoyam achintyoyam avikaryoyam uchyate. In Bhagavad Gita he says that it is avyakta, that it is not manifest in any form. And it is achintya, it is beyond our mental conception. You cannot conceive of it. Whatever we know, we can only know from Shastra. But you can experience it through the process which is given by Shastra. Otherwise, one can never know. By one's own effort, if one does not hear from others, then one cannot know about it, no matter how intelligent a person is. Therefore, Kṛṣṇa says, Āścāryavat paśyati kaśyadenam āścāryavat vatti tathaiva chānyam. Āścāryavat chanyam śrunoti srutvapi nayanam veda kaśyat. That it is wonder that you can speak about it, and it is wonder that someone can hear about it. But it is also wonder that after hear also one does not know it. Because it is something which is not experienced in our day-to-day life. The other characteristic of Atma is that it is a referent of the word I. When we are using the word I, even in our conditioned state, this I which we use in the conditioned state, mostly we are using it for our body or our mind. But it is not true that we use it only for our body, because without Atma, the body does not function. So therefore, this is a mixture of I of Atma and I of the body. So there are two I's. One is the I which comes from Prakriti. So from Sankhya we know that there is a Prakriti, and then Prakriti undergoes transformation as Tattva, and then Tattva transforms as Ahankara. So that Ahankara is that which gives you the sense of I. Without Ahankara, you cannot have the sense of I. But this Ahankara is material. It does not have life in it. So it gets its life from the I of the Atma. And then these two things get superimposed on each other. That is what is called knot in the heart. They get tied and become as if they are one. There is no distinction. But they are actually two separate things. But if you put one eye on top of another eye, you will only see one eye. Because they both are covering each other. So if you see from front, you will see one. If you see the other side, you will see one. So this Atma also has got its own I. But that I is expressed only in relationship with something. When you make a statement, in the statement there is a subject of the statement, and then there is a predicate of the statement. So if you say, I eat, so I is the subject, eat is the predicate, or I eat Mahaprasad. So eat Mahaprasad is the predicate. But if there is nothing, when the Atma is pure I, then it is only the subject and there is no predicate. And simply subject without predicate does not make any sense. So therefore it cannot be expressed. There is nothing you can say about it. Whenever you say something about somebody or about yourself, you say, I am this, I am that, I do this. Either you explain what you do or what you possess, right? Or what position you have. There will be I something. Simply I, if you simply say I, so this is, I read that when God appeared to Moses, he said, I am what I am. So that means he said that what I am, it cannot be explained. Whatever I explain, you are going to understand it in material terms. That's what he really meant. I am not material. Therefore he said, I am what I am. Because Atma is I, and what can you say about it? Whenever you are going to say something, you have to use something external. So this is Ahamartha, and it's part of its svarūpa, and it cannot be lost. The other characteristic of Atma is that it has got its consciousness, and this consciousness can spread. As we discussed earlier, with the help of prana, it can spread. It can spread up to any amount. So if somebody can have a physical body as big as this room, then Atma can spread its consciousness into the whole room. There is no limit. There is a statement, I think in Mundaka Upanishad, that Balagrishat bhagasya saddha kalpitasya cha bhago jivo savigya sacha anantyaya kalpate. That the Atma is like 1/10,000th part of the tip of the hair, but it can expand its awareness unlimitedly. It can have this whole universe as its body and be aware of it. It's possible. There is no limit because it is not material. Material things have limitations. So although it is atomic, but its expansion can be unlimited. So these are the svarūpa lakshanas, and it is beyond the trigunas, it is beyond sattva, rajas and tamas, and it cannot be influenced by sattva, rajas and tamas. And it is in the same roop all the time. It is also neither male nor female nor third one. Now they have some 79 varieties. So all these genders, they do not exist in Atma. Atma is neither male nor female nor neutral nor this nor that. It's not. So all this is only in the body. We also know that the gender is only in the body, not in the Atma. So these are the svarūpa, lakshanas, characteristics, essential characteristics of the Atma. And it's in its conditioned state at present, and it is striving all the time, looking for happiness. But it can only be happy by realizing its svarūpa, which is its part of Bhagavān. So self-realization does not mean that I am Atma. It's true self-realization means that I am Atma as part of Bhagavān or Paramatma. Because there cannot be proper self-realization without knowing the substratum of the self. It's not independent. It's not a unitary, independent unit existing somewhere in the air. It's rooted. Bhagavān, therefore, Kṛṣṇa says, Aham Atma Gudakesa Sarvabhūtāsya Sthita. I am Atma. Means Atma is his part. So just like we identify our body, we say, this is me. If somebody touches your finger, you say, you're touching me. He's actually touching your finger. Right? Which is only a part. But still you say, you touched me. Right? Don't touch me. Right? And then you can say, no, I'm not touching you, I'm touching your finger. So therefore Bhagavān also says that I am Atma because Atma is his part. He loves the Atma, so he identifies with it. So Sri Kṛṣṇa has this Kaustubha gem on his chest, that is the taṭasthā-śakti. Kaustubhena vivarti aja. That this were all the jīvas. So he likes jīvas so much he keeps them on his chest. Very dear to him. So this is what I wanted to say, and if someone has any questions, I wrote a book. If anybody is interested in knowing more, I have this book. It's called Jīva Tattva. It's available on our website. One can take it from there. Okay, Tanmaji.
Maji, one question about I'm asked frequently these days is about this Brahma.
Prema?
So you have explained that Brahma. You have explained that in the case of a snake and rope, for example, we are seeing the rope, but instead we recall the snake by mistake. And so seeing the rope is a snake. So in the same way, some people argue that the Atma has mistaken the body for itself in the same way, and they call that Brahma. What is our view of this? Because my confusion there is that, but you've never seen you don't see the Atma, it cannot be seen. So, and there's no similarity between Atma and body.
No, it's not that kind of Brahma. You see, when examples are given, first of all, it is a material example. Now you are applying this to something spiritual and material. It's very difficult to explain. That's what I was saying, that Atma is called Achintya. We know this. It's a very basic statement of Kṛṣṇa in 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita about Atma. So if it is Achintya, how can I explain it to you? Because whatever I am going to explain to you will be Chintya. Achintya means inconceivable. Whatever I will say, I have to conceive of it and say, put it in words. Otherwise I can only say, well, it's inconceivable. That's all. What can you say about something which is inconceivable? You can only say it is inconceivable. So this is a problem. That it is Achintya, but still we have to say something. Like even this thing that it has no beginning. This itself is inconceivable. We just say, okay, it is inconceivable, I just accept it. But now you try to conceive it. It has no beginning. You cannot conceive. You will go crazy because where will you take your mind? It has no beginning. How far back you go, it is not going to end. So here you are really not conceiving it. But we just say, okay, it's inconceivable. We say the word and we feel satisfied with it. So this Brahma is two things. It has two parts to it. Number one, that Atma is devoid of its own knowledge of its own self. That is the first part. And second is that it thinks that I am this, but it is not. So it is in that sense that it is Brahma. Brahmas are of various types. It's not only one type. Deepak ji.
Thank you. Babaji, you were explaining that one of the characteristics of the Atma is that it cannot be transformed. But you were also saying that at the moment the Atma is in the conditioned state. So when it evolves to the unconditioned state, how does that transformation happen? Or is it achintya, as you were just explaining to Tanmay-ji?
No, I already said that it is conditioned, but the conditioning is not inside the Atma. It is external to it. That's why Kṛṣṇa says, Ajñānena avritam jnanam. Like you take a book and you cover it with a piece of cloth. The cloth is external. You cover it and you remove the covering. Does the book get transformed? And there is no transformation. But when it is uncovered, then you can see it. When it is covered, you don't see it.
Thank you.
Janaki.
Bhakti. I'm having a hard time understanding what you had said. What is I'm trying to understand what is the difference between being conscious and possessing consciousness. Could you please explain that a little more?
Means you are a person, so you are conscious of yourself, and then you can also be conscious of things outside you, so you are possessing consciousness of things around you. You are conscious of your body, so you are conscious being. It's like when you are in deep sleep. So in deep sleep, you are not conscious of anything. You are only conscious of yourself. So basically you are not really possessing any conscious of anything except that you exist. You are only I. So you are conscious being and you have consciousness as a quality by which you can be aware of things. Otherwise you could be that you are just conscious, that's all. You cannot be aware of anything else. That's what Brahman is according to Advaitavad.
Perfect, thank you.
Shalas.
Pranam Babaji, you mentioned that Jiva does not come in contact with the body.
Yes.
Because it is material, but it rather activates it through prana.
Yes.
And you also mentioned that prana is also material.
Yes.
So how does it come in contact with prana?
It has its field, just like you have magnet, and then magnet can influence iron pieces, although it does not come in contact with it. You can have some iron fillings on top of a book and take a magnet underneath it, you move the magnet and these things will move. So it's not contacting it. So Atma does like that.
And second question I had is that you mentioned that Jiva is part of taṭasthā-śakti. And is there something besides Jiva in taṭasthā-śakti, or is it just a way of saying it, that it's part of taṭasthā?
What did you say? Is there what?
You mentioned that Jiva is part of taṭasthā-śakti.
Yeah.
So is there anything besides Jiva in taṭasthā-śakti?
Anything besides Jiva?
Jiva. Yes, because my understanding was that taṭasthā-śakti is the energy which is made of Jiva, put it that way. I mean, the entirety of the jīvas is what makes taṭasthā-śakti. Is that correct?
Yeah, this is correct way of saying, but you have to go a little above that. Because this Shakti is belonging to Kṛṣṇa. So it's difficult. That's why I said that he has the Kaustubha gem and that is the Jiva Shakti. And this Jiva Shakti is also unlimited. So either you can think that he has got unlimited Jiva Shaktis combined together, that is called taṭasthā-śakti. So it's not that only one Jiva is taṭasthā-śakti. Kuba.
So my question is about this, also about consciousness and being the possessor of consciousness. The question is it possible for something to be conscious but not be possessor of consciousness, or to be the possessor of consciousness and not to be conscious?
This is what Advaitavad says, that Brahman is only consciousness, but it is not conscious of anything. Because if it will become conscious of anything, there will be duality, then it is not Advaitavad. So they say it's just mere consciousness.
Okay, but this conscious and possessor of consciousness is a response to their...
Advaitavad.
Okay, thank you.
Dhira, is DLD Dhira or someone else?
Satyanarayana Das Babaji. Babaji, my question is around the genderless Atma, and due to different vrittis, it's taking on maybe the ego of feminine, male, or 78 others. And I'm trying to understand this in relationship to Shakti and Shaktiman, when we say Shakti is the ultimate Purush, Shaktiman is the ultimate Purush, and Shakti is the feminine gender. And then also with respect to a liberated soul, sadhak, who is a jīva, and eventually carrying an ego in the spiritual world, ahimsa, either as a cowherd boy or a cow gopi. That gender that they're displaying, is that also external to the Atma?
Yes. But there is no duality like that as we have, because both are conscious. Now our ahankara, one is material and one is spiritual. So there is a duality. But they are one. That ahankara of that body is also spiritual, and here the ahankara of Atma is also spiritual. So first thing is that when it is said that we are Shakti and he is Shaktiman, therefore we are like Prakriti and Purusha, this is a way of explaining which signifies like Sharir, Shariri, Prakriti, Purusha, sometimes Amsi, Amsa. The true meaning of this is that we are dependent and he is independent. We are controlled and he is the controller. These words do not have their literal meaning. They convey certain things because language has its limitation, and especially we are trying to deal with topics which are not material, and we use the language which we use for our material dealings, so there is no other way to talk about it. And as far as the gender, yes, the body, spiritual body has its gender and Atma has, but because both are conscious, so there is no duality at that level as we have a duality here in the material world. That body has its gender and Atma does not have any gender. And Atma is spiritual and body is material. And therefore you can change the gender of the body You can become transgender. Like there is a cisgender and there is a transgender. And then it becomes something else. If gender was of Atma, there could be no transgender. Right? All this business will stop. So this is happening because Atma is free from it. Valguhasa.
Pranams Babaji, I don't know how much time we have. I have like 6 or 7 questions.
Read them.
So the first one is related to existence of taṭasthā region and where are individual atmas located when they are not active in material world. And there are 2 quotations. One is from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Jiva Dharma, and second one is from Chaitanya Charitamrita. So I can read both quotations, or if you can just answer.
So taṭasthā jīvas are in the material world, within material nature, and when the material nature is dissolved, all the universes are dissolved, then this goes inside the body of Mahavishnu. All the jīvas enter into the body of Mahavishnu. Therefore, jiva is sometimes another word used is called anushayi. Shayan means to sleep, anushayi means which sleep after. Means when he sleeps, then jivas sleep inside him. When it is time for creation, then he injects the jivas into material nature, and then the creation begins. Kṛṣṇa also says Garbham dada, tasmin garbham dadamyaham. Mami yonir mahad brahma, tasmin garbham dadamyaham. That this Prakriti is my yoni. So yoni means source. Yoni is also used for the womb. So he says in that I give garbha, like injecting, like male and female unite. So that kind of simile he is using, that Madayonir Mahad Brahma Tasmin Garbham, that I give. So that is the meaning, that he brings out the jivas into Prakriti when he manifests Prakriti outside. That is what is called, he glances at it, sakshat. He looked at it, and by his looks he puts the jivas into the Prakriti, and then creation continues from that. So taṭasthā region, I don't know what the quotation is, but it can only be called within Mahavishnu. And when they come out, then it is inside the Prakriti only.
Next question is related to whether knowledge and pure bliss are inherent in Atma. So Ramanujacharya explains the hidden identity of the soul while in the material realm in his commentary on Vedanta Sutra. He describes the soul's pure qualities as being shrunk while in the material world, and then being expanded into pure knowledge bliss upon liberation. So the soul was always pure from the start, and only from the contamination of consciousness while in association with matter does the soul appear to be misdirected. In your book Jiva Tattva, you elaborate that such knowledge does not exist in Jiva bounded by māyā, that Atma is devoid of knowledge, and rather that such knowledge comes from without. How can we reconcile this statement with Ramanujacharya?
So first of all, it is not our responsibility to reconcile statements of other acharyas with our philosophy. I don't see any reason that we have to reconcile, because many things, otherwise there will be just one sampradaya. So Vallabhacharya has different view. He talks about 3 types of jivas. There are pushti jivas, maryada jivas, sansari jivas. Madhvacharya says there are sattvic jivas, rajasic jivas, tamasic jivas. Now if you ask me, how are you going to reconcile this with it? I cannot. Because in our philosophy we don't have that kind of divisions. So there may be certain differences Obviously, if we consider ourselves as a different sampradaya, you cannot say that everything which Ramanujacharya says applies to us. And I know about these quotations, and I understand them. So I don't accept, or rather our acharyas don't accept anywhere that jiva has got knowledge inherent in it. Because if I ask you that knowledge is inherent, do you know what knowledge means? Knowledge always means of something. Knowledge by itself doesn't mean anything. When you say, I have knowledge, immediate question comes, knowledge of what? So if it is inherent in the jiva, then I will ask you, what knowledge about what? And if it has inherent knowledge in it, then why is it confused? Because something which is in my svarūpa, it cannot be taken away. Any of the characteristics which I describe of the jiva, they cannot be taken away, because that's what it means that it is in svarūpa. So what Ramanujacharya says, I also understand that, but it is not the understanding which you are saying. That it is there and it is, yes, jiva is always pure. I never said that it is impure. It is, conditioning is external. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Cheto Darpan Marjanam. So like a mirror, the dust is outside. Dust is not part of the mirror, otherwise you will not be able to clean it unless you break the mirror. So there is no impurity inside the Atma, that we also accept. And it cannot become impure, it is always pure. But as far as bliss inside, knowledge inside, that is not acceptable to our acharyas. Whether Jiva Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, nowhere they say like that.
Next question is related to that one. If knowledge is not in Atma, what happens when person attains spiritual body? Is knowledge about past lives lost or kept?
It is lost, because all this knowledge is in the subtle body, and liberation means muktir hitva anyatha rupam svarūpena vyavasthiti. So death means giving up gross body and living along with the subtle body. The Atma lives along with the subtle body, and mukti means becoming free from subtle body as well as gross body. So there is no knowledge of this thing which goes with the Atma, and it's not needed also. So you read Narada Rishi, what he got, his spiritual body, prayujyamanaitam maitam suddham bhagavatim tanum arabdha karma nirvano nepatat panch bhautika. Says, my body of panch bhuta, it dropped and I got shuddha, pure spiritual body. It was given to him. It's a very clear statement there.
Next question is, as we know that taṭasthā jīvas are anadi in material world, and we know that there are nitya siddhas in spiritual world, which are manifestations of svarūpa-śakti, is there a category of taṭasthā jīvas in spiritual world that were never in material world?
Yeah, I said it in the beginning when I said that there are two types of jīvas. They are called nitya mukta jīvas and anadi baddha jīvas, sometimes called as nitya baddha jīvas. So one example is of Garuda, given by Jiva Goswami. He writes it very clearly. I have also quoted that in Jiva Tattva book. So those jivas in the spiritual world, they are never conditioned. They are ever liberated. Okay, anything else? Kuba, you have something, or is just your hand?
I want to ask about, as there are two types of jivas, then also in Bhagavad Gita we speak of two types of daiva and asuras, and how do these correlate? I understand that they are not nityabadas, the asuras, but...
No, these two types are just dealing with the prakriti, the nature. It's not talking about the jivas.
Okay.
Just the acquired nature.
And this acquired nature is also like forever, let's say?
No, it's not. Just as it is acquired, it can also be given up.
Okay. Thank you.
I heard you say that Atma is atomic. If I told my daughter that Atma is atomic and she started studying physics this year, she would say, okay, it's indivisible and small, very, very small. So, is it true? Physics is a material sign. Does its terms apply? Do those terms apply to Atma as well? And can it be measured in size? No.
I'm saying it is achintya, inconceivable. What to speak of measuring it with an instrument? It cannot be conceived with mind. And atomic is, again, as I said, it's not a proper translation, but we have no other word for it. The proper word is it is indivisible. It's not even material. There is nothing material which can touch it. How will you measure it? Doesn't have. It's not as we are thinking.
I heard a few times people say that Atma is the size of nth part of
Yeah, you can say so many things. That is just to show that it is very subtle. How to say? We have to say something. Something is inconceivable. That's why I said something is inconceivable. What can you say if it is inconceivable? I can only say it is inconceivable. But that doesn't make any sense to anybody. So then we try to say something to give an idea. This is called Shakha Chandra Nyaya or Arundhati Nyaya. Like you want to show moon to somebody, moon, big sky, so many stars. So you point to the tree. Now look at this tree. So you can look tree because it is nearby. Now look at this branch of the tree. And now look behind the branch. That effulgent thing, that is the moon. So these are some directions given so that we get some idea. You cannot now put them to the test of science.
Babaji, the living beings, the living entities in the spiritual world, they have no knowledge of a place called material existence.
You see, the thing is that there, you have to understand the purpose. It's like people here in the material world, how many people know about the spiritual world? Only those who think that we have some purpose to know it. Others, no one knows. So those who are there, they are doing their seva, and unless they are part of Bhagavān when he comes to the material world as an avatara, then they know, and then they can think like that, because whatever knowledge you have, you enter into that. But those, there are so many Vishnu forms, they are not appearing here, then they don't need to know this.
Because I've heard of a story how one guru was supposedly in the spiritual world, and Kṛṣṇa said, "Oh, I want you to go and write some books in the material world." And the guru said, "Oh no, I don't want to go there, it's such a bad place." Oh, Kṛṣṇa says, don't worry, everything will be fine, just write these books." So now I'm just curious, now is the spiritual beings.
So then he must have known. I mean, if the story is true, then he must know. So that's what I'm saying, if there is some purpose, then you know. Like here in the material world also, there are so many places we don't know. Unless we have some purpose with it, then we try to know, or we are curious. So they may know, they may not know. It is not necessary that they have to know. So there is somebody else here.
Yes.
I cannot read the name.
That's Bengali, Vijay Sundar. Pronounced Babaji.
Yeah.
Just a quick reference question. Some educated person told me that out of all jīvas that perform sadhana, some obtain the goal sadhana and some perpetually perform sadhana without attaining to goal. It sounds to me quite odd, this kind of statement, so maybe you can elaborate if you can.
No, he said that there are two types of people. Some perform sadhana and attain the goal, and some people don't attain the goal and they just do sadhana perpetually. This is what are you saying?
Yes.
So then
this
what?
is what I heard from the educated person.
So then how is it called sadhana?
Yes.
It should be called sadhya. Sadhana means, the very word sadhana means a means. So then it is not a means.
But
just like you do devotional service here. So for us it is sadhana. And then when you attain prema, that is sadhya. So you attain it, then also you do it, and you do it perpetually, but then it is not called sadhana anymore.
Yes.
Sadhana means to reach something, to attain something.
Perhaps he was hunch on this word yadrichaya, that bhakti is given by fluke, basically.
No, whatever it may be, but when you say somebody is doing sadhana perpetually, then I'm saying it is not sadhana.
Oh, okay. I understand. Thank you.
Okay, so Babaji, I am not the body. I am not that body. Okay? I am the soul. But who is saying I am the soul now?
Who is saying?
Who is saying that?
The
body
conditioned
or
jiva.
the soul?
No, this is the conditioned state. This is how we are trying to understand, but now these two things are together, and unless you become liberated, they are together as one unit. So it's not that who is saying it as if this is separate and that is separate. They're together now. So it has become one unit. That is the Chit-Jat Granthi, that is the knot, that is the bondage. So both are saying it. Otherwise, Atma cannot say it and body cannot say it. It's not possible. So it's together now. This is the meaning of conditioning.
So one is saying the truth. One is saying the truth if they speak together, and the other is a liar.
Other is a?
One is saying the truth.
But that's what I'm saying. It's not that they are two separate things. At present they are one. They are so much in love. They are not two. They are not thinking I'm this and I'm that. They are only one. It's like you have a piece of iron. Okay? It's again a material example. Don't try to analyze and say, well, this is not possible. So you make it hot. So then it touch and it burns you. So then which is burning you? Fire is burning? Because fire cannot touch you without the iron piece. Or the iron piece is burning, iron piece cannot burn because iron piece is not fire. No, they are together burning you. You cannot say that one is telling lies and other. No, they together function. The function of burning which will happen by the iron piece is done by both as one unit. This is what Vidura says, that Maitreya says, this is illogical. But it is happening. There are things which are illogical, means translogic. There are things which are beyond logic, they don't fit in our experience. And Shastra is primarily to teach us that only. Otherwise science would have figured it out. They would have measured where is the soul and how big it is, what is its characteristic. It's not possible. That's why the only pramana is Shastra. Okay, some other is there. Damirji. Please unmute yourself.
My respect, dear Babaji, Namaste. I have one question from your Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, 25 verse. Can you little explain Sanskrit word avyaktaha, unmanifest? The self is said to be unmanifest because all our capacity come from the soul, from the Atma, for completion, for work, experience, observing, witness. How can understand avyaktaha manifest?
So just like God is everywhere, do you believe that? God is everywhere.
Yes.
Do you accept that?
Mm-hmm.
But do you see Him anywhere? So He is avyakta. So avyakta means that it is not perceptible to your senses. Because avyakta does not mean that He does not exist, but it is imperceptible to your senses, therefore it is called avyakta. Is it clear?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, there is some other name. Please.
Pranam, Babaji. I have a question regarding losing memory after entering Vaikuntha Loka realm. It came to my mind the story of Dhruva Maharaj, who was entering the plane with Vishnu Dutas, and during the flight he noticed his mother in the other plane.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is, could he recognize her as his mother if he lost his memory?
Yeah, so his case is not a normal case, as you also know from the story, that he did not give up his body, unlike the case of Narada Rishi. Although Narada is talking also about his past life, so he was given that body itself was transformed into spiritual body. So his case is different. That is one thing. Second thing is that you have to understand that there are many stories in the Shastra, they are described there to teach us something. And it is not necessary that they are just now putting Siddhanta there. So there are Siddhantas, like Kṛṣṇa is saying in Bhagavad Gita, he is making a very clear statement that Ichha des sukham dukkham. So he says that all these Ichha, Dves, Sukha, Dukkha, Sanghatas, Chetana. He is even using the word Chetana, which may say, well, what is this? Chetana is in the body, means awareness of things. Dhriti. He says these are all in Kshetra. Because you have to, if you understand where knowledge is stored, then you will know why it is that it is not carried over. Knowledge is stored in the Chitta. You have material senses, and with those material senses you get perception through the mind, and that knowledge stays only momentarily, then it is gone, but it leaves an imprint which is called samskara in Sanskrit. And it is from the samskaras that you have memory. Now these samskaras, either you have to accept that they are in the soul, or you have to accept that they are outside the soul. So if you say that samskaras, the imprints of our experiences are in the soul or in the Atma, then they will be permanently there, because soul does not undergo any transformation. It is eternal. Then you will never forget. So then you should remember all your past lives all the time. But that is not the case. So they are outside in the Chitta. And that's why you can lose your memory. People have dementia, they can forget. So if it is possible to forget here, it is also possible when you take liberation and go away. We have had so many experiences in our past lives, we do not remember them. Because they are in the form of samskaras and we are unable to access them. So mukti means giving up everything material. There is nothing material which goes with the soul when soul gets liberated. So now you have to decide whether memory is stored in the material body or it is stored inside the Atma. Or you have to assume that something material goes along with Atma, but that is denied in Bhagavatam itself, in the 2nd canto, 10th chapter, where it says, Muktir hitva anyatha rupam svarūpena vyavasthiti. Very basic definition. There are so many other definitions of mukti, so many varieties of mukti, but the most fundamental definition which applies to all muktis is that in the state of mukti, the Atma is devoid of anything material. Anyatha rupam. Anyatha means which it is not, means anything material. It's only situated in its own svarūpa, svarūpena vyavasthiti. And Atma's svarūpa is not material. So that's why I say that this memory is not carried there. Okay, last question, Raman.
Pranam Maharaj, I actually have 2 questions, if you may permit.
Yes.
So, first question is, we understand that there are different sampradayas and different understandings of those sampradayas. What is our understanding of practices like pranayama, yoga kriya, and things like that in attaining the ultimate goal?
So these are not part of our sadhana. They are part of, if you want to do yoga, they belong to yoga marg, but not to bhakti marg. But if you want to do them for keeping good health or peaceful mind, you can do them, but it has nothing to do with bhakti. If at all it has to do bhakti, it's like if you eat good diet, you keep good health, you can do good seva. So in that sense it has some value, but directly it is not related with bhakti. It's a mechanical process.
Thank you, Maharaj. The second question I have is around free will. So, does the Atma have free will? And if not, why is the karma associated to the Atma?
So first define what do you mean by free will.
Is making a choice based on knowledge.
So where is the knowledge in Atma? Knowledge of what?
But is there any will? I mean,
No, you answer my question. You said that will means making a choice. I already said that the svarūpa of Atma means that it has the potential to know, potential to act, potential to experience. Kartritva, gyatritva, bhoktritva. And that potential can manifest only when you have a body. Otherwise, suppose there is an Atma and that Atma becomes Brahman realized. So now he is going to have all the knowledge there in the Brahman realized state. If Atma is if knowledge is inside Atma, and knowledge is of something, you cannot say he has knowledge. This is a vague statement. He has knowledge. Knowledge of what? No, he has all knowledge. Means he has knowledge of the whole world. So then when he goes into the Brahman realization, he cannot be Brahman realized. Then Brahman realization will become impossible for anybody. Because Brahman realization, that is the thing, people don't know what is Brahman realization. Brahman realization means complete nirakar, nirguna. There is no qualities, there is no knowledge, there is nothing in it. It's just your svarūpa, pure. So then that will not happen. So then you have to deny that there is no such thing as Brahma Sayujya, but it is accepted in Shastra. So it has the potential to know, it does not have anything. And the thing is that you have your own experience every night. It's not something which you have to just believe. When you sleep at night and you go in deep sleep, what do you know? If knowledge was inside in Atma, then okay, in the wakeful state you are seeing this and you forget about that knowledge. Then when you are in deep sleep means when you are disconnected with both the gross body and the subtle body. So then you should be full of knowledge at that time. You should become omniscient in deep sleep. But if you will be omniscient in deep sleep, it would not be called deep sleep. You will be most awake. more than when you are awake. So everybody knows that when you are in deep sleep, you are in absolute tamas. The ultimate limit of tamas is deep sleep. Tamastvo ajnanam. As Kṛṣṇa says, that tamas means ajnana, ignorance. So deep sleep is absolute ignorance. You are not even dreaming, nothing. At least when you are dream state, you are knowing something, whatever it may be, imaginary. So where is the knowledge then? If Atma has knowledge, then it should have. Where is the free will there? It doesn't have the instruments. I explained that these potentials cannot manifest without the potentials. So some instruments have to be there. And that means you have to have a body. Okay?
Thank you, Maharaj.
So, or anyone else has anything?
There are some questions in the chat.
Speak. There is some Patel there. Who is that? Krishnananda Patel?
Me. Dhanyavad Maharaj, Babaji.
Bolo.
Some moments.
हाँ बोलिए.
I have a question. You mentioned the Kaustubha gem earlier on. You mentioned Kaustubha gem earlier on. The Kaustubha gem.
Kaustubha gem, yes.
So the jīvas who rest with Mahavishnu after Pralaya, are they different from the jīvas who emanate from the Kaustubha gem?
See, the jīvas, they go into Mahavishnu, they are same. The conditioned, those who are eternal jīvas, they are never emitted into this material world. So, Vallabhacharya, we had that class. His famous statement is Yathagne Kshudra Vispulanga Vicharanti Evam Eva Smadat Atmana Sarve Loka Sarve Jiva. This is the statement which Sri Vallabhacharya utilizes when he talks, because his philosophy is Suddha Advaita, pure non-dualism. So he has to prove it also. So as we say that they go into Mahavishnu, but then Mahavishnu is separate, Kṛṣṇa is separate. They only talk of Brahman. So that from Brahman it emanates like that. So this is insignia. It's like Kṛṣṇa, he is complete in himself. So all Shaktis, they are within him. But they also manifest outside him. So when they are within him, then they have their representations on his body. That's what all the marks signify on his sole of his feet, on his hands. He has that golden streak of hair on his chest which signifies Lakshmi. So that does not mean that now Lakshmi is not outside. But as a person, as a personality, when he is there, all the Shaktis are there also in him. So that is the significance of Kaustubha gem, that taṭasthā-śakti is taṭasthā-śakti. And that's why it is outside as a gem. When it is Lakshmi Devi, then it is on his chest, it is part of his body. But gem is not part of his body. So that is the significance of it. But when they come out from Mahavishnu's body. Is it clear?
Yes, I'll think about it, meditate on it.
Okay.
Thank you, Babaji.
Very well.
Question from Ram Ram Ji. Radhe Radhe Maharaj Ji, does not Buddhism believe in souls? Kindly explain.
No, they don't believe in soul. They don't believe anything which is stable. Everything is transitory in their philosophy.
I have a language question about praga abhava. Is it prag abhava or praga bhava?
If you make sandhi, it is praga bhava. If you don't make sandhi, it is prag abhava.
And prag meaning?
Sandhi does not mean sandhi here, it's really joining them together.
And prag means?
Pre.
Pri.
Like you said, pre something.
So if you use it separately in a sentence, it would be praga or something else?
It is prak.
Prak, okay.
And then ka becomes ga by the sandhi rule.
And I saw somewhere pranch.
Vishnu daso Vishnu padante hari ghose cha hari gada.
And I saw somewhere that explained it's pranch.
Pranch. No, that's separate word.
It's not applied here.
That's a separate word.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we'll stop. All right, thank you.